To whom does the law apply? Are you a dog? Are you a dog? Let's have a look-see. It should or be self-evident their legislation applies to persons, period. Persons, all of them, are of one class, fictional beings. They don't exist, not in reality. Read this here. It is part of a 32-page document written by a High Court Justice out of the Netherlands, you'll see her name there, on the subject of persons, and that persons are fiction. Fiction means not real. Lots of information about her on the internet, by the way, if you want to dig into her history, so on and so forth. She's well known, and she's on their side of the fence. She's one of them on the legal side. She's the one that wrote this. This is evidence. Not hearsay. We're not saying this is evidence from one of their own. So have a read there. All right. In a nutshell, for the sake of simplicity, here is something to think about. And instead of person in legislation, substitute the word dog. No dog shall work or travel, whatever, without proof of vaccination. Now, let me ask you this. How complicated can it be to prove you are not a dog? If you are not a dog, and they agree you're not a dog, I'm talking to Daddy, then the dog catcher will no longer come for you, no longer bother you, no longer charge you. You can figure out how to do that via the information in these videos and form a strategy. Think about it. Or obtain an information package to help you out. Your call. To be binding on their daddy, their judge and lord, the agreement must be achieved with their daddy whilst on the witness stand. That's where the evidence, such as that previous document, is entered as evidence. It's part of the record now. They want to, hey, if they want to rebut that and say it's BS, let them go nuts. They won't do it. They can't. And based on comments from our previous videos, the more recent ones, I think people think I'm suggesting to go into the courts for justice. That's not what I'm saying. It's ridiculous. It is not about seeking justice from an unjust system. Not at all. It's not about going on the offensive nor defensive. I'm saying one may use their deceptions against them, turn them back on them, the deceivers, so they lose their grip on us, that they never actually had it. It requires a strategy because same old won't cut it. We're going into new territory here. They got us in our property by deception. Deception is fraud. So no, I'm not suggesting people go to the deceivers for justice. And I'm not here to prove anything to anyone. People must prove things for themselves. How the heck can I prove anything unless you're with me 24/7, 365 to know the truth of it? Otherwise, could be all make-believe. You know, you make the sense of the information, how you might use it or move along. It's up to you. God says, come out of your iniquities. Webster says iniquity is injustice, unrighteous, a deviation from rectitude, as the iniquity of war, the iniquity of the slave trade. So yes, the system is corrupt, no doubt about it. This is not about seeking justice from it. Let me be clear on that. What I'm talking about is getting out, like Alice got out of Wonderland. She was real, everything else was fake. A judge cannot do that for a man. But can the judge, can the legal system, can they lose their grip on man? Absolutely. It's been done. I've shared a couple. Can I prove it? Well, you have to go spend 24/7, 365 with them to know the truth of it. That is the perspective. That is the reason for getting on the witness stand, to bring that about, to come out of her iniquities like Neo came out of the Matrix. The approach, the methodology I'm talking about, I don't think people are seeing it. And I think I know why that might be. I call it mind block, bound by deception. We have been tricked, we have been trapped, we are deceived, it is all we know. The deception in which we live is for us is real because it's all we've ever known. We are born into it. I listen to people and not one uses the word man or woman in their conversations. Not one ever. It blows me away. It's, just to me, it's just like the indoctrination is, oh my God. It's all persons. We met in person. My personal physician, he is a good person. My personal account. It's everywhere. People should know that what comes out of their mouth ensnares or keeps them ensnared, speaks to their state of being, where their head's at. Jesus said I'd be more concerned what comes out of my mouth than what goes in it. I add, better remain silent. He also said, the whole world is deceived. There you go. Deceived. So don't be thinking you're going to get justice from the deceiver system. The deceiver. Most everybody, their mind is in the person world. And I mean this with all due respect. Been there, done that, still there myself. Although it's being freed up, but no better than anyone else here. Most everybody, their mind is in the personal world, the fictional world appearing real. We cannot see this other world, another way of being. We are unaware of it. We do not know what we do not know. A guy asked me the other day what I had personally accomplished. That means in person. Knowing persons do not exist, I answered nothing. But that's not my point. My point is, why did he add the word personally? Personally accomplished. Why add the word personally? A judge would be all over that state of being. Again, it speaks to where one's head is at. What world he believes exists. Why did he not ask, what have you accomplished? This is evidence of programming, indoctrination. He cannot grasp what I'm talking about because his mind is in bondage to the deception. That's what I mean by that. And I'm not saying people are stupid, but that we have been deceived. That's all we know. Well, we got to unknow that. Just start to see what's real. The truth is what's real. The movie The Island depicts perfectly what I'm saying here. They were born in a big pod sort of thing, closed off completely from the real world, the outside world. They were in a pod kind of thing. It was their life. It was all they knew. For them, that was reality. But it was a manufactured reality. And like them, because of our indoctrination, we too are in a manufactured reality. That's all we know. It's all deception. If I know I've been tricked, I can prevent further trickery. If I know I've been trapped, I can set me free. If I know I've been deceived, I am no longer deceived. I know what my adversary knows. I know his game, his tricks, his traps, his deceptions, rendering them of no force or effect. Got to face them. So you see, this is not about seeking justice or taking the usual course of action people take for court concepts. This is about removing the rulership they believe they have. More accurately, getting them to see that they do not have it. Not asking here. Not begging here. Not pleading here. Like when Neo tricked Smith, that ended with Neo being free of the matrix, free of the manufactured machine world. And Smith did say, you tricked me. Yep. That's what I mean, but it's the best metaphor I can come up with to them talk about turning their deception right back on them. You tricked me. And that's when the truth was known. So you are deemed to be a person, a dog. Metaphorically, you are deemed to be a person because the truth is you as a man, and they know it. Hence, they got to deem you something else. If they could impose their laws on man, if they could take jurisdiction over man, I mean directly, why do they mention person in their legislation? They get jurisdiction because they deem you a person. I cannot be what I am not, but I can pretend to be. But it's all fraud. It's all fake. Is that what I pretend to be that they have jurisdiction over? See, when they deem you to be something, it means you are not that. Not joking, not making up. Look at what the court said about that. Pardon me, about Deem in the cave case here. So there you go. So it's what Jeannie Gecker, I think her name was, the High Court Justice, wrote on the fictions, on persons and fictionals, fictional beings. In the cave case, how hard can it be for a man or woman to prove he or she is not a dog? All right. So my main reason for doing this is I do not know how this will go for people, but some of us have been discussing this vaccine passport thing. People are under pressure to get vaccinated to maintain autonomy, to keep their jobs, to eat out and travel. All requirement for vaccine passports applies to persons. Please listen to me. It's the law. It's the law. Okay, I accept that. It's the law. Great. What if you walked in with the law and with something like this? And tell them you're here to have the person vaccinated. Insist, if necessary, that they vaccinate the person. It's what they do. That's what the law requires. You know, one guy was saying about going in with his birth certificate. I like this because some styrofoam here, it's got substance, so they can actually jab it. Lost his hand, by the way. Still looking for it. Yeah, so just work with me here. Even get to the point of insisting that they do it. See, the COVID requirements and orders apply to persons. You can show that persons are fictional beings and that you are real. You can show deeming me to be a person means I'm not a person. You can say the person was there to be vaccinated and was refused if such is the case. What the heck is going on here? Your law requires persons to be vaccinated. The person was here to be vaccinated and you won't vaccinate. That's not satisfactory service. Just saying. Play the game. Work with the deceptions. Just throwing it out there. No idea how this would go. Yeah, so you can make a stink and educate along the way. What the heck? Do you think the doctors and nurses know that they have the authority to vaccinate persons, not man? Do you think some of them might have a hard time with it if they find out that it's, well, just a second here, persons don't exist, I'm vaccinating a man? Oh, I don't have authority to do, ooh. Oh. Keep it simple, doc, just vaccinate the person. It's easy. It's your compliance with the law. Nobody's breaking the law. It says right here, person, orders, requirements, persons, applies to persons. It says that right in the legislation. I checked it. Applying to persons. Orders applying to persons. Specifically persons. Persons are persons. And the orders apply to the stores, the corporations out there, and it applies to the citizens. All persons. All fictional beings. It's all the same class. All under the term person. Think of, use your noggin. I'm just throwing some stuff out there. Think about it. Maybe if a lot of people did this, we'd reveal the deception to others and, Even free some doctors and nurses from having to do things that they really don't want to be doing, but they can remain compliant with the law. The law says persons. This is a person. But here's the person. Now, the objective here being, of course, is to get the person gets proof of vaccination that you can show to whoever needs to see it. They might think that it's your passport, but who cares what they think? You know it's the person, that the law and all that has nothing to do with you. Probably best not to get in conversations with them about that, except where you have to. Potential obstacles to overcome. They want to see identification. How do I do that but not prejudice me? Well, the picture on the driver's license is that of a man, real. The name on it is that of a person, a fictional being. To accept a birth certificate in the province of Ontario, they do, that makes it even easier. And remember, no matter what, you're not identifying you, but the person. Just play along. Just don't maybe say that I'm the person. Just try to say it without having to say that I'm the person, and the person is here, whatever. The grin on your face, wink, wink, whatever. I'm not saying, oh yeah, so there's another way is using a birth registration number that identifies the birth record in the registry. Give that registration number, nothing more, and direct them to contact that office for the identity of the person. That office holds the record, not me, they did it. Get it from them. I can't give you what I don't have. I don't have any of that documentation stuff. You can't, of course you don't have that. In other words, what you're saying is I don't have the means to appear in person. You see, if you don't have these documents, you don't have the means to appear in person. Your lawyer's going to say, okay, I need to see documentation. He needs to see government ID in order to notarize something to prove, so he can see that you're there in person. Everywhere you go, that's what all that identification means. It's you're there in person. If you don't have it, then you can't appear in person. They won't talk to you, but great. Anyhow. So I'm not saying how it will go for you, but giving you things to think about. The other option, of course, is to protest, refuse, reject, argue, apply for exemptions, claim charter or other rights, or send notices of liability. Doing that, from my view, is an indication you believe the laws, orders, mandates, requirements apply to you when they do not. They apply to dogs. And I get it, some people are struggling with the reclaiming your security stuff, maybe even this trick, traps, and deception thing as well. But let me put that in perspective. Many people go to school to be a doctor. Not all pass, not all make it. Whose fault is that? And regardless, if one wants to succeed at whatever, try again. And when I said fast track for relief, I meant quicker than the reclaim your securities path. Certainly for those under the gun. Food for thought, people. And last but not least, I am not your father, but I do live. Stuff to think about. That's all it is. This is disinformation. Do with it what you will. Think about it, whatever. But seriously, people, there's a real world and there's a fiction world. There's man and woman and there's persons. As long as we keep giving power to this thing over here, and even though you think when you're protesting it, you're giving it power. When you're refusing it, you're giving it power. You've got to deal with the fact that it doesn't actually exist. And deal with that reality. Now that reality, that fiction reality, they believe what they believe. They're not going to just up and believe everything you say. Oh yeah, you're right, that person's are fictions and I'm a fiction. I'm not really here, or I'm a man and you're a man, and all men are created equal, and God didn't authorize one man to do anything to another man. So, we're done here. No, they're not going to see it that way. They're indoctrinated as well. That's why it's on the witness stand. You see, it doesn't matter what people believe in the courtroom. It's at the end of the day, the truth comes out in the witness stand, right? Whatever it is, even if it's wrong, it's right. So when you present a case in this from the witness stand, as long as just let the prosecutor. It's going to be evidence. Let the prosecutor rebut. In this case, some of their own evidence, some of their own stuff that they rely on. How are they going to do that? Ain't going to happen. So anyhow, yep. God bless. Love you. And that's it. Ciao for now.